Welcome back to Open Line. We are talking about law enforcement and body cams on police. It's certainly an issue that is being discussed here in Nashville. It's being discussed around the country. We have with us from the mayor's office, Sean Braisted and Lonnell Matthews with, let me get this right, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood and Community Engagement. Thank you both for being here. We're also streaming this live on our Facebook page. Jessica Brooks asks, if Nashville adopts this, how long before outlying areas, Cookville and others, and obviously you all focus on Metro.
Right.
Are you aware? Are you talking to outside communities? Like you're talking not only to Seattle, but what about our local Middle Tennessee areas?
Some of our neighboring counties already have deployed body cameras. Dixon Police Department has deployed body cameras. Hendersonville, the Police Department has deployed body cameras. All of those departments sometimes do secondary employment at special events that happen at Bridgestone Arena or other facilities within Davidson County. And I've personally spoken to some of the staff there that they've actually talked to them about their use of their cameras, and some of those officers have really encouraged the police department to really look at this and to push forward with deployment here in Davidson County.
When you're talking about body cameras, where is the camera physically located on the officer?
So it could be in a number of places. There's equipment and models that go right on the chest plate on the officer. They could connect to the officer's vest on the chest plate. There are cameras that could go almost shoulder height, and there are actually cameras that are on glasses. So there was one model that was presented to us during our CAG meetings, and it showed everything that the officer saw, where the officer could turn his head and it's going to show everything. So there are different types of equipment, there are different models, different technologies, and it's always advancing too. So some companies are in their 4th generation of a camera, and it's like an iPhone, I guess. They come out with a new generation every year and try to advance the equipment.
And generally speaking, again, the police department is supportive. Do you feel that? Or
Yes.
what is that? I might be supportive of having a camera on me, but then I would also be concerned. It would also, that's a lot, you know.
Yeah.
So what are you hearing as far as from the police department itself?
I think anytime you have change, you're going to be concerned. We're taking an officer, some officers that have been on the force 30 years maybe, and have done things one way, and we're changing the way that they work in an instance, but by introducing this new technology, this new equipment. And so there's going to be some change management that's going to be needed throughout that process also, just to make officers feel comfortable with the way that we're changing the way that they operate and they work and they serve our community. And so I don't think there's a resistive change, but I do think there's going to be some reservation of am I comfortable enough with this technology to be able to use it properly?
And certainly that's part of the policy, which is, so you know, when you turn the camera on, when you turn the camera off, so that you're not when they're eating lunch or just, you know, having a personal conversation, they're not recording that video. So that's something that is addressed in the policy that is getting drafted right now that meets some of the concerns that the police department had.
All right, let's go to Paul on line 1 here. Hello, Paul.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen. First of all, let me say that I appreciate all you police officers out there and everything you do. I'm a senior citizen, and to this day, I never thought I would see the day we had such stupidity in our society where anybody, especially thugs, think that they can point a gun at anybody or try to get a police officer's gun and not get shot or killed themselves. If you point a pistol at me and I get the opportunity, you're going to get shot and killed. I am a concealed carry. Now, George Soros and the Ford Foundation gave a lot of millions of dollars to this criminal group called Black Lives Matter. Maybe Black Lives Matter should be the ones paying for these cameras.
Do you think the cameras are a good idea?
I don't know. I'd like to hear what how the police officers feel about it. I have no iota as to whether they're in favor of them or maybe the majority is for them or against them. I don't know. Maybe they need the option of whether to use the camera or not.
Right.
I just don't know. I can't give you an educated guess.
Yeah, Paul, I would encourage you to contact the Fraternal Order of Police and speak to some of their leadership about how they feel about body cameras. But I'll also say that the Department of Justice and the President Obama had appointed a task force on 21st century policing. Both of those agencies in the federal government recommended body cameras as a way to build trust, offer transparency and accountability, and that was way before the formation of Black Lives Matter. So I don't think that it's just that group that's pushing for body cameras. It's just a best practice, and I think where we're going with technology, video surveillance is all around us. It's on our cell phones. It's everywhere. And for an officer to be able to show, not only tell his side of the story, but show what he's doing, lends credibility to the work and the service that they provide to our community.
Yeah, I think what we've seen in the officers we've talked to, I think they have a high degree of confidence of the professionalism of the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department and their ability to perform their job in a capable way. And I think they are confident that when the videos do come out or are recorded, they'll show that they did their job properly. So
we have somebody here saying, can the officers just get rid of the video? That's Pamela Haven Paz. She questions, you know, could they just get rid of the video? It's something they don't want out there.
So the policy that the Community Advisory Group came up with explicitly prohibits officers from altering, deleting, or even sharing video inappropriately. An officer's responsibility is to, at the end of his shift, upload the data from his recording into the system so that data is properly stored. But there should not be any misuse of those recordings. The recordings should not be deleted or altered in any way, or the officers in non-compliance of the policy.
And the systems are generally designed so that, you know, one officer cannot, you know, go back through and look through their video camera and just delete things that they don't want to see. So, I mean, there are protections in place through most of these equipment that will ensure that, you know, that if it's recorded, it's uploaded, and then they mark it depending on the policy, whether it's something that it keeps for 90 days or for 3 years, and then there's going to be supervision from the sergeants in the precincts.
Yeah. We also call for periodic audits of recordings.
The last caller, Paul, indicates how emotional this is. This is a very emotional topic, and people have very strong feelings about this, but it's such uncharted territory. How many other, you mentioned Seattle was one of the first to go in. How many departments nationwide have them? Is there a percentage?
So about 20% of police departments actually have body cameras in place now across the nation.
And where do you think that'll be in 10 years?
In 10 years, if the national trend continues, I could see us easily at 50% or higher of police departments. Like Sean said, Axon actually has made their equipment available for free for departments to try. So I think you'll at least have more departments that may have been weighing the cost against deploying cameras to at least try and see if it's worth purchasing cameras.
And as you've seen with, you know, TVs or any sort of technology like that, as more people adopt them, as it gets out there, the pricing goes down. So pricing of storage goes down, the pricing of the actual equipment goes down. So it becomes more cost effective the more people that are using it and the more it gets rolled out. So I think as the curve goes up, you'll see more people adopting them. And
where does it go from here? So the mayor's going to make this, she'll make the, I guess she's going to put it in her budget.
She'll make the budget proposal to the council. The council has until the end of June to approve the budget or offer a substitute budget, and hopefully the funding will be available July 1st in the new fiscal year for the city.
And you go from there looking for
to the purchasing process.
A purchasing process,
yes.
A request for information and request for a proposal.
Proposals. Yes.
And it could take, yeah, and then the training.
Yes.
So, all right, you're moving right along with this. And what else do you want people to know? In these meetings, what have you heard from the public?
So we've heard a variety of things, but I think at the end of the day, the public wants to be more involved. The public wants the opportunity to build a better relationship between the community and the police, and the public knows that this is only a tool. I mean, that was repeatedly spoken, that these cameras are only a tool to build trust in places where trust has been broken. It's going to take a lot of relationship building. It's going to take a lot of interaction. Our police department has actually requested more resources and funds to be able to do that, to organize more community events, to have officers on foot patrol and actually patrolling our community by foot rather than just rolling through in a patrol car. And that offers opportunity to interact with the community on a more positive level and build relationships within the community.
The shooting of Jacquees Clemens, what did that do for this issue? Did it accelerate it? What do you think it did for this issue?
I think it brought a lot of attention to the issue. When the mayor announced this back in October, I think that there was a lot of support in the community at that time, but there probably weren't a lot of people that really wanted to engage on the issue. I think that that unfortunate incident really brought a lot of people and engaged them in wanting to be a part of the solution and make sure that this happened, and it was a commitment that was seen through. And so the mayor is committed. She wants to do this. She has wanted to do it. She talked about it when she was campaigning for mayor, and if she has her way, we're gonna get this done.
Let's go to Jim. Jim. Hello, Jim.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Has there been any figures given to the public of what not only the initial cost of the cameras are going to be, what's going to cost to maintain them, to service them, and to replace them, as well as to store the footage and to go through the footage? So the actual real-life figures will appear to say 5 or 10 years to what the expense is going to be on the public's back. If so, I'd like to see those.
Yeah, so there have been some estimates given in the police's proposal. However, we won't know real costs until we put the request for proposals out and we start hearing from the vendors what their actual costs are. We do think it is going to be very reasonable once we start hearing from those vendors. Just from what we're seeing in other cities, yeah. We think it'll be a lot more reasonable than what's been proposed so far. But again, those are only estimates, not actual vendor costs that have been proposed to us.
Yeah, and the chief's proposal that he presented to the mayor at the budget time was a more robust policy where you restore every video for 3 years, no matter what, that you record, and you equip 2 cameras for every 1 officer. So that's not necessarily what you've seen in some other places, and that's what the policy is going to help develop. And hopefully with the policy and the retention, and when you record it, it'll reduce that cost as well. But you know, it really comes down to whether or not you do it all in-house, which was a more expensive proposal. And it's important to note that in the chief's proposal, he was also talking about dash cameras in addition to body cameras, which is something we're still looking at as well. And there were some other factors in that budget estimate that included equipment that was maybe ancillary to the body cameras, but stuff that they wanted anyways, such as new computers in their cars, new printer equipment in their cars, because the ones that they have currently are getting outdated. So a lot of things were sort of in that original budget proposal, which may touch on body cameras, but might also be separate issues for the police department as well. Yeah.
And a good point from Jim, that once you buy these cameras, it's also the maintenance, right, which you all are well aware of. That'll be part of the overall plan that you have, but it's more than just a one-time amount to purchase. There's maintenance, upkeep, all of that.
Sure, and that's where you get into whether or not it makes more sense to do a subscription model where you basically you have a 5-year contract and they'll do all of that renewal and data storage and data maintenance, or you do it all in-house as what the police department originally proposed. And so you're going to look at that as and when you look at all of the proposals that come in.
All right, we're going to take a break. We continue to stream live on our Facebook page, on our News Channel 5 Facebook page. If you want to comment, we'll include your comment. Or if you can call, if you want to call in, there's the number 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Take a break. Be back right after this.